Hey everyone, welcome to AC Everything. My name is Squid. Today we're going to be discussing the top 5 Funimation animes I've seen so far. And I believe I mentioned it in a past video that I watch all my anime on the Funimation streaming app because I don't tend to enjoy watching a lot of subbed animes. A lot of people use like Kiss Anime and stuff like that to get all your subbed animes. Crunchyroll has them all on sub. If you don't mind subtitles, go to Crunchyroll, but I tend to use the Funimation streaming app because I don't like watching subbed animes. That's just my personal prerogative. Today we have Igneel, the giant bearded dragon, with us. I mean, he's not really giant, but he's definitely a lot bigger than any of the other reptiles I have right now. And today I think we're gonna start from the bottom. I'm gonna start with number 5, which is Suzuka, which is easily probably one of the best animes I've seen. Period, especially from the genre that I tend to enjoy watching anime. Because I'm not a big fan of action at fighting animes usually. I tend to be more of a fan of dramatic, emotional, actual story animes. And Suzuka hits that genre really well. The two main characters, I believe, is Suzuka. I can't remember the other main character, but basically it's a classic love triangle situation, and in the end they hook up and they end up having kids. That child actually stars in the follow-up anime to Suzuka, which is called Fuka, which if you haven't checked that out, I recommend checking it out. It's on the Funimation streaming app. I think there's a couple episodes on YouTube, and it's definitely on Kiss Anime at this point, so if you haven't checked that one out, go check it out. And if you haven't checked out Suzuka, it's definitely worth a watch. It's easily probably one of the best dramatic animes I've ever seen. Not really a harem anime, which is going to be basically half the animes on this list. And those are one of my favorites as well. Obviously, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit on the pervy side with some of my anime viewing habits, but whatever. But I will say this, there's only going to be one anime on this list that's over the 20 episode or 26 episode range, and it's not Dragon Ball Z, because Funimation does Dragon Ball Z. I don't like Dragon Ball Z. Honestly, it's just not my thing. It's not a bad anime. I've watched a few episodes. It's just not my thing. I just don't like it. As I said, I don't tend to like fighting animes, period. There will be one fighting anime on this list, and it will be over 20 episodes, but it's not Dragon Ball Z, and also it's not One Piece. I'm not a big fan of One Piece either. That's just my personal prerogative. I think they're a little overrated, but to each their own. I mean, if you guys want to bear down on me in the comments or whatever, do as you will, but I'm just not a big fan of either of those animes. Number 4 is Heaven's Lost Property, which is actually a harem anime. It's all about Tomoki, a character that finds... I can't remember what the actual name of the creatures are, but I know Icarus is the first angel to fall from the sky. He discovers her. He lives in kind of a basic town where nothing happens, and he finds her in the middle of a field. Life changes after that, and she actually believes he is her master, and that's basically where the drama starts. And there's never a payoff in that one in terms of where it's going or who he's going to get with or whatever. There's no payoff on that one. That one I think is about 24 episodes. It's made in 2 seasons. It was released in 2012 and 2013, I think. I might be off on that one. Definitely one of the best harem-style animes I've ever seen. Number 3 is Rosario Vampire. Rosario Vampire is probably like the cult classic for harem animes, honestly. Everyone knows about Rosario Vampire, especially if you've had Netflix at any point, you know what it is. Basically, a character named Skune goes to a big school of monsters. There's vampires, there's werewolves, there's succubuses, there's witches, there's everything. And he ends up dealing with the drama of being a human in a all-monster school. The other main character is Mocha. There's no payoff on that one either, not really. It's pretty much a given that he's going to get with Mocha, but you don't know that for sure. The best character in that one is easily Misery, no doubt. Best character in that anime without competition. But there was no payoff on that one, really, so... If you're into payoff animes that give you that payoff, unfortunately, that one's not going to be for you. Number 2 is one of the greatest animes I've ever watched, honestly. A lot of people would not agree with me on this one, but I tend to have more high esteem for things that aren't quite as popular, honestly, I'll be honest. That's the type of person I am. Number 2 is Welcome to the NHK, which I believe is, honestly, if I wasn't trying to be a little bit unbiased with this video, it would be number 1. No doubt. Welcome to the NHK is probably one of the best animes I've ever seen. It's not really a harem anime at all. It's kind of dramatic. Tells the story of... I can't remember the main character, actually. I need to go back and watch these. I've seen so many animes at this point, they tend to run together, and I can't remember all the characters at this point. So, we're running thin on remembering exactly who's who in some of these animes. So that's kind of the drama we're dealing with right now. Okay, Google. Who's the main character in Welcome to the NHK?
Here is information from Welcome to the NHK.
Well, there you go. The main character's name is Tatsuhiro Sato. And then the other main character is Misaki. And she's trying to help him deal with hikikomori disorder or whatever, which basically just means you're shut in, you're a hermit, you have social anxiety. And that's why that anime is so big for me. I've been dealing with social anxiety for like ever since I can remember. And this one really hits on it really nicely. And now I will say it's a little bit overexpressive. Sato thinks everything is conspiracy against him. He believes a media company called the NHK has caused him to become a hikikomori, and that's basically the set out of the anime. He blames everything on the NHK, everything wrong that happens, and she's trying to help cure him of hikikomori disease. Of course, obviously that's not going to work out, but slowly over time he kind of comes out of it a little bit and gets better and better at each episode. That one's at about 26 episodes. If you haven't catched that, it's definitely worth a watch. It's actually all on YouTube last time I checked. Definitely on Kiss Anime. You have Funimation app, catch it. There's no comparison. It's probably one of the best dramatic animes I've ever seen. Great story, very relatable for me. Obviously, it's not going to be relatable for everyone, but overall, it's one of the best crafted animes I've ever seen. It's a little bit older than the other animes on this list. It came out in 2005, whereas every one of these animes, except for Suzuka, came after 2010. Suzuka also came out in 2006, so it's fairly old as well. Ironic that those animes, honestly, are probably the best crafted animes on this list in terms of story. Rosario Vampire and Heaven's Lost Property, okay, but the story overall in Suzuka and NHK are probably the best out of all of these. Number 1 is Fairy Tail. A lot of people will look at me like I'm crazy. Now, if you're going to look at high episode amounts, action animes, there are several you can look at. There's Fairy Tail, there's Soul Eater, there's Dragon Ball Z, not a big fan of that one, and of course there's One Piece, which I think is garbage, but once again, it's to each their own. I mean, well, I wouldn't say it's garbage, it's okay, it's not bad. Soul Eater, if you've seen Soul Eater, you know exactly why it's not even on this list. It was a good anime, and in the end completely ruined everything, basically. So, that's the problem. So, it's not a bad anime, but the ending was garbage, so the series kind of suffered because of it. It's not like the ride was so astounding that it was worth the journey to see such a disappointing end. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't great. So, overall, Soul Eater wasn't even going to make this list no matter what. Maybe if it was a top 10, but even then I don't think it would make it. Some honorable mentions, I'd say. Assassination Classroom has got to be there. I would say immediately. Assassination Classroom, probably one of the coolest animes done by Funimation. Real Life, it's a relatively new one. If you haven't checked out Real Life, there's actually a follow-up coming in 2015 in March, or 2018 in March. There's more episodes. They're going to finish up that story. In terms of drama animes, had there been more episodes or more out, I probably would have put this in the top 5, definitely. Other animes that could have made this list, right now I'm watching The Testament of Sister New Devil. That one's a bit much. It's definitely way further, it's way beyond just fan servicing. It goes way further than that, so... High School DxD, honorable mention. It would have made top 10, but it's not going to make top 5. Definitely not. I don't know what he's getting chipped up. He's just looking around and know what's going on. Dishonorable mentions, and this is pretty obvious. If you're me, Ouran High School Host Club. I don't know if it tends to be this way with all Funimation anime lovers, but honestly, I'm sorry to say this, but Our High School Host Club is one of the worst animes I have ever seen, period. No competition. It was horrible. Garbage. Sorry. Could not get into it at all. Another honorable mention, actually. Okami-san and Her Seven Companions. Little known anime. Only 12 episodes, but really good one, actually. Another one, Keijo. In terms of fan servicing, that one hits on it really well. Cool concept behind that one that I think takes it to that level too. That one could have made this list probably. Probably would have made top 10 possibly. Definitely would have made top 5 for fan servicing harem animes. Keijo is absolutely ridiculous. Shimonita, that one could have made it maybe. Restaurant to Another World, that's one that I watched that I thought was really good. Unfortunately, it's just kind of slow. It's a good anime overall. I've had friends that called it garbage. I thought that was stupid. I think it's a good anime. I don't think it's amazing, but it was a good anime overall. Definitely worth the ride. Some cool stories in the background of that one, and you get a cool concept of everything with the food and everything, and how this restaurant appears in every world. Couple other ones. And You Thought There Was Never a Girl Online, that's one. They have some ridiculous titles for Funimation animes, but that one's a pretty decent one. Not a lot of dishonorable mentions. Air Gear could probably be put here. It's really big among Funimation lovers. Hatalia, that's a good one. And then, of course, there are animes that are not Funimation animes, and I could make a completely separate list for all the non-Funimation animes that I've seen that have been amazing. Number one above all of them would obviously be Naruto. I'm a big Naruto fan. I don't think it's the best anime I've ever seen. I used to think that, but some of the filler episodes are a bit ridiculous with that one, so it didn't really make the cut there. It still probably is maybe my most favorite, but I'm not sure. Pokemon definitely would make it. Gurren Lagann, obviously. Sword Art Online. If I'm talking about the best anime I've ever seen in terms of 26 episode length, best one, probably Sword Art Online. A lot of people say Death Note. I think Death Note is probably one of the best crafted, if not the best crafted anime ever made. Definitely top 3, I would say, but I gotta give Sword Art Online all my attention here. It's probably one of the best I've ever seen. Forget the second and third season, although the second and third season have been really good. Number 1, the first one, that's where they hit it really well. SAO is probably easily one of the best animes I've ever seen, possibly the best, and possibly my most favorite. I think at this point I've seen so many animes, it's hard to choose a most favorite, but this is the best I can do for the top 5 Funimation animes I've seen so far. I might do another one with animes that aren't Funimation, top 5. Gurren Lagann, Sword Art Online have got to be top 2 right there. Naruto, but if you're talking 26 episode length, I'd say, yeah, Gurren Lagann and Sword Art Online, probably the best 2, easily. And then Death Note and Pokemon, but Pokemon way over that level. Although I feel like after the first Pokemon, it was kind of garbage, so. But anyway, that has been our top 5 Funimation animes we've seen so far. Obviously, we might do a top 10 to go further with this because I watch new animes every day. Couple other honorable mentions. Sankaria is a really good one. If you haven't checked that one out, that's a really good one. Kind of a little bit short and everything. Dagashi Kashi is a really good one for Funimation animes for honorable mentions. But that's our top 5 list. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe. Hit up our social media outlets, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.